What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellowshow. My name is Kyle. Tonight, we are joined by the great Drake Sanford. We're going to be kind of just talking about whatever comes to mind here. Drake said we want to talk about some rookies tonight. We'll kind of hop in and look at some of those guys, and we'll take any questions from the chat room. But man, Drake, it's good to see you again. We've been a couple weeks without a show, how are we doing?
We're doing great, man. I'm happy to be able to join. Missing John a little, but what do you do with a guy like that?
He's a busy man. We'll aim to get him back on the show around the All-Star break here. But the basketball, like now that like football is officially, like we have the Super Bowl left, that's cool and all. But like I'm getting into, like, the games are getting good. Things are starting to matter a little bit more. We're starting to see things take shape. And there's kind of like there's like clear tiers as to, these are good teams. These teams are not going to make it. Like we're starting to see some separation, which is a lot of fun. I had the privilege of I watched the Memphis Grizzlies last night. That's I from the Western Conference, like I'm rooting for the Grizzlies. They haven't really had a lot of success. Like when's the last time the Grizzlies were like a top?
They had some Western Conference Finals appearances with Zach Randolph
Okay.
and Marcus Gasol. Who's running?
Yep.
Who's running the point on that? It was Conley, Mike Conley.
Mike Conley. Okay, yeah. So it's been about 5-6 years at least since they've been a good team. So I had it last night. They were beating the Knicks thoroughly throughout the whole night. So I enjoyed watching that.
I'd like them better if they were still had the Vancouver logo.
Okay, yeah, that'd be kind of awesome.
I love Ja though, but
it's a little modern.
How do you not cheer for the Grizzlies right now? But if they could go back to that old logo.
Mm-hmm. And as far as I did want to, let's get the Cleveland Cavaliers talk out of the way, just because. Well, what's up with Darius Garland? Is he?
Just kind of like a stinger injury from their win, like last week. So he's been out this whole week. It was their loss against Detroit. It was actually that night we were together, Kyle.
Okay.
So Kyle and I attended a Bucks game live, and the Cavs shat the bed against Detroit, and the Bucks said, "I can do you one better," and
they didn't even show up.
Lost by 36 points to the Nuggets.
I found it interesting though, because the next game for the Nuggets, they get blown out by who did they got blown up by a bad team.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was. But
we'd have to look
it was Minnesota. It was Minnesota.
Well, Minnesota's not a bad team.
Not a bad team, but to get blown out by Minnesota, a little bit different than getting blown out from the Bucks or the Nuggets, I guess.
So the Cavs most recently, they lost last night to the Rockets, which was kind of devastating. But
look at all these
They're running on a kind of skeleton crew right now. Mobley went off, but look at the injuries to their guards.
Because when I was doing my my waiver wire stuff, some of these guys popped on the list.
Goodwin popped on, didn't he?
Chetty, Goodwin, even Dean Wade was interesting last week because I saw if someone was going to get minutes, it was going to be him. He had the 35 and the 26 minutes, and then he kind of disappointed the last couple games, so he kind of fell off the list. But it's Goodwin. Even Kevin Love is only a guy that's about 33% rostered, and he's, I think, reasserted himself as being their main scoring piece over the last week or so. So he's a guy.
With Garland out, Love took that on. They also are missing Markkanen. That's why Love's getting a lot of minutes. So Markkanen, they're slow rolling, unfortunately. But they're trying to keep him healthy. So there's some injuries on this team. But Okoro is playing amazing. And Mobley last night went off. Chetty's been playing the point guard, which is fun.
Yeah, I saw him. Yeah, he had the 12 assists the other night.
Yeah. He started at point guard against New Orleans.
Interesting.
Send him.
Yeah, he did great. He's actually been playing his last 4 games. He's been kind of rosterable in 10 and 12 man leagues. But I'm intrigued with this Brandon Goodwin fella here. He's actually probably the more true point guard over Chetty. And I think Goodwin comes in the second unit and kind of helps the second unit out. But 2 really good games, and both in different ways. 21 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal against the Pelicans. And he comes back against Houston, 7, 7, and 8. He's just casually flirting with a triple-double. Interesting. I think this is a player who Probably needs to be worked into the offense and kind of command that number 2 point guard position for probably while he's healthy.
So they'll probably, Goodwin's going to play until these guys come back. So you probably have Goodwin for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps he makes his way into the rotation, but Rondo has been amazing.
Yeah, as long as Rondo's
not fantasy amazing, but you watch him play with those guys. He's there. Him and Love have a good connection, but he's got a great connection. Markkanen being out's huge. He's like that third big piece.
And what do we know about the Markkanen injury here?
There was no damage or anything. They're just taking it slow with the ankle.
So this was from Tuesday morning here. He's resumed light basketball work. So maybe sometime after the All-Star break coming up.
I would say 2 weeks he's out. So that puts us right at the break.
Yep. And dude, next Thursday is the NBA trade deadline. So
it is.
I'm thinking next week we start to see some fun stuff, and hopefully we can report some cool trades. But any other quick thoughts on the Cavs? They're chilling, man. They're 5th seed. They're basically the same.
They'll be fine when the guys come back. They always, this starting unit with Love coming off the bench performs awesome. So not worried about them. They'll just kind of flow in the water right now.
The stat that really sticks out when I'm just kind of looking at the Eastern Conference as a whole, it's kind of cool. Like literally the top 6 teams in the East, they're separated by 3.5 games. And the Nets, of course, are without, KD and Kyrie at home. So they're right in it, but you have a 6-man race for the East lead. And the Cavaliers allow the fewest points per game in the East. That might even be true for the whole NBA.
The Cavs are best when their defensive guys are out there. That's how they win games.
They're tied. They have the best defense in points per game allowed with the Golden State Warriors. So hanging their hat on the defensive end right now.
That's their game. They have quick guards, but you make them pay on the D end.
So I guess any parting thoughts on the Cavs, or what were you hoping? Let's get some of the rookie talk in. I wish I could kind of maybe let's just kind of we're gonna pull up the compare tool, and why don't we I'm gonna keep typing in some of the rookies here. Who is the number 2 pick? Was that
Green?
Green. Yes.
So this is what I wanted to talk about the rookies, because it's always fascinating to me with the NBA. They call these drafts like bad drafts, basically, because there's not one superstar guy. You don't have a potential LeBron. We haven't had a LeBron since LeBron, but you don't have the Zion, who never plays basketball, but you get the point I'm making. You have that clear number 1, like Ayton and Doncic and all those guys. This draft was casted as kind of mediocre. There wasn't one superstar. You weren't disappointed if you weren't in the lottery type thing. But if you look at, and actually, Kyle, it's on CBS Sports. This caught my eye the other day. They had the rookies, their points per games, like Chris Duarte. Over the last couple weeks, he's averaging 20 points a game. Josh Giddey, Alex Sinjin, Kuminga when he actually gets to play.
Yeah, and Kuminga is interesting.
Scotty Barnes. You have Cade Cunningham. Since he's been back, he's averaging over 20 points a game.
Davion Mitchell's heating up.
Mobley, who was the clear front runner 2 weeks ago for Rookie of the Year, isn't he's probably not. Franz Wagner.
So amazing. I just pulled up the draft order here, and I was watching the Grizzlies the other night, and Zaire Williams, he actually got the start, and he played really well. He's not really a fantasy guy, but what's cool is I think more so this year than years past, these guys, sure, some of them are in the starting 5 and whatnot and are excelling, but a lot of these guys are nice little niche role players for their teams right now. And I think as rookies, you get really excited about that, because if you can make the floor as a rookie and grow from there, you're looking at guys that especially the top 15 or so. Even Corey Kispert was getting some work the other night against the Bucks, which I thought was interesting.
Chris Duarte is averaging over 20 points a game,
and he's been very smooth. He's a fan. pretty much the top like 13 dudes in this list are on fantasy rosters the rookie season.
They are,
which is impressive.
They all have their different roles. I mean, the top four are starters.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be in the rotation every night. Giddey's a starter, so I should take that back. Franz is a starter. So, I mean, that's impressive.
Mm-hmm. And what I did was
draft class, I was like, oh, it's kind of hit or miss. We don't have that superstar to hang our hat on, but.
So I compiled this is the compare tool for the last 7 days, and in terms of fantasy points, only one of these players is useless and it's Kuminga. Kuminga played decent the other night because they had a lot, like Otto Porter didn't play. I don't think Steph played. There's a lot of guys that didn't play, but when
Kuminga
he gets
the
minutes,
he's good.
When he gets
look at it.
Look at so down here. Like that's when he's gonna get the minutes, he's gonna be a really good player. So he's kind of fun. But like this entire list is players that you want on your fantasy team right now, and it's like I don't even have I have to. It only lets me put 8 players on the compare tool at once. But if I wanted to, like I could add Davion Mitchell here. I could add.
Green was drafted by me, and he was just on Jake's roster like a few days ago. So Green's he should be on a roster. But
so I'm gonna remove some of the more obvious names right now, and then I just want to keep kind of filtering in some of these new guys here. What's James Bouknight been up to? Has he been anything for the Hornets? It doesn't look like it quite yet. I want to add Duarte, and then I did see Moses Moody get some run the other night with the Warriors as well. Warriors are gonna be like, man,
look at Duarte though. Click on him.
So for fantasy wise, he has kind of trailed off in the last 5 games, but when he came back from whatever was ailing him in the early parts of January, the man was on a mission. Like the fantasy points were in the 40s for a couple games here. So he's compared to his season though, he's actually kind of on par with minutes and in a lot of everything else, but his scoring has been down over the last couple weeks.
He's averaging 23.3 though, so that's above the line.
That is definitely above the line.
I've flirted with picking him up. I don't know if you have, but pretty much every week I check in on him, check when the Pacers are playing. It's like, it doesn't add up. But
it's I don't get why he's on so many transactions here. Dalton and Matt Boehm have been just all over Duarte here. And then
John Heffernon get involved now?
John does his little casual one-night stand, and then he kisses them.
Loves them and leaves them.
He loves him and leaves him. So that's interesting that he's available. I didn't expect that. But the guy that I had been watching, I have a weird thing with the Kings. I want the Kings to be good, damn it. But all of a sudden, Mitchell, the last 4 games, his minutes are up. The points are up. Everything is up here. You look at that last 4-game stretch for Davion Mitchell here. It's looking good. He's only 9% rostered too. So that's a guy that I think needs a little bit more love. And I think this trade deadline is going to be fun. You might see a little bit.
Davion's going to get a lot more minutes in the second half.
You're probably going to see just a continuation of this between 30 and 35 minutes per game the rest of the way. I think that's very, very doable.
He was a guy that I told you and John, I think it was a couple months ago, because the Kings had back-to-back games on a weird schedule. I said, I can't make the move, but pick up Davion Mitchell.
Yeah, you told me to do it. Yep.
Yeah.
Nandor in here on that night. Kept him for 4 days. It wasn't a one-night rental, but I did get him for a few nights there.
Yeah, that was the time. Because they had like a weird amount of games, but I was like rostered out. So.
So, even when he wasn't getting consistent minutes, he still flashed a lot of potential. But now it looks like they want to commit to him. And again, post trade deadline, you're probably going to see this guy continue to put up good numbers.
We assume Hield's gone.
I think so.
Probably Fox.
I don't know what's up with Fox. Have they been kind of holding him out? What's been the deal?
That's a garage sale right there.
Let me see. So he's been out for a very long time. Ankle. So he's missed the last 6 games. He'll be on a minutes thing. Who knows what they're trying to do here?
He's gone. This whole franchise is a joke. It became even more of a joke.
It is. I just want to pull up. I just want to look at it from a whole team perspective, real quick. So minutes over the last few. I mean, Tyrese Halliburton's been a gem. I think it's clear that they want to build around Halliburton in a two guard system of Halliburton and Mitchell, and then
everyone else is for sale.
Everything else doesn't really matter.
I mean, Harrison Barnes is a great piece for someone. He's shooting like 43% from three.
I think we talked about like Harrison Barnes going to like the Sixers. Like you send a package of players to the Sixers, you get Sixers are not getting anything for Simmons right now.
The Sixers would be smart to just like if they said Harrison Barnes, Buddy Hield.
Let's go. Like that's insane.
That's you're already in like playoffs. Embiid's an MVP this year. In my opinion, Embiid is the MVP.
And they can figure out the money later.
But bring those guys in, and like now you have two pieces to put with Embiid, and what else do you have?
And they need consistent guard play. Like Tyrese Maxey has played pretty well, but they need a 2 guard, a 3 guard. They need some more consistent play at those positions.
You have Tobias Harris and Embiid, and they're still in the top. Like this organization, they got to make a move.
This Terrence Davis too. Before he missed some games, like this dude he popped on my radar. He puts up 35 one night, 22 the next night. Good rebounder, good assister, great defensive steals too. You see the steals here.
Yep.
This 4-game stretch here, like this is a guy. He's out a minimum 3 months, so his season looks like it's shut down. But the Kings, they have a lot of talent. They just don't know what to do with it. So
Tristan Thompson's gone.
I'm hoping something can. They got Emmanuel Mudiay too. Wasn't Mudiay like a decent piece on the Knicks last year?
Yeah, he was drafted by the Nuggets like 6th overall or something.
Yeah, interesting.
It's trash.
Yeah,
it
is a mess for sure. But I guess did we cover any more rookies you wanted to kind of pour into? I do like pretty much everyone on this list, and Jalen Green is a guy here who is starting to put some good things together. His minutes are starting to spike towards the right direction. Maybe we should spend some time just looking at the Houston Rockets because it's getting to be about that time like where we're going to start looking at some of these shitty teams and being like, I got to get my minutes up.
I got to give my opinion, and this was kind of a thought process and before the draft that the Rockets were better off taking Mobley because Jalen Green is Kevin Porter Jr.
Yep.
They're the same guy. They do the same thing. They require the same amount of like touches and the ball. And Kevin Porter's getting that because he's probably better. And, Christian Wood's a power forward. So I don't you could have taken Mobley and probably been in a better situation.
Yeah, I was looking at this team and they have 7 guards.
Yeah.
They have like 7 really good guards that could.
And Gordon has to be moved. I mean, you put Gordon on the Bucks. Gordon coming in the second rotation. He's an efficient scorer. And he plays great defense.
Yeah, he's interesting. I can't believe he's getting this many minutes.
He's good, and he wants to play. He didn't want to be like him and Kevin Love were in the same boat. They said, someone's got to earn their minutes over me. Otherwise, I'm playing. He's not pulling the John Wall.
What would he call? What would you call the Houston Rockets? And I want Gordon. What does he cost? Is he?
He's probably costing a young player. You're out of his contract after next year. So I was looking into some trade deadline stuff today. But you're out of his contract after next year anyways with an option. But, I think a team like the Bucks or Cavs, the Bucks don't have one, but I wouldn't be upset if the Cavs waived a first-round pick this year's.
Interesting.
Here you go.
So I just know he's – for the Bucks, the Bucks have a few too many guards right now. He's going to probably be their 3rd or 4th guard. But if you're talking about one of these playoff teams here,
the Cavs is like the rumored spot right now, so that's why I brought up Gordon. But if you waived, maybe 2 young players or just the first round pick, who cares?
So we just watched the Nuggets kind of dismantle the Bucks, but can you name some of their guards for me besides the injured ones, of course.
Well, Murray's coming back.
At some point, yes.
And Porter Jr. is coming back.
Mm-hmm.
But you have Willie Barton. Was it Morris? Monty Morris? Is it Monty Morris?
It is Monte Morris. But against the Bucks, it was Bryn Forbes and Bones Highland getting minutes at the 1 and the 2 guard. So if they had the capital to do it and upgrade there, it's kind of been disappointing for Austin Rivers too. So
they could have shot from half court against the Bucks and we're making it. Like it was an insane performance by the Nuggets. Like it was rebound, outlet pass from Jokic, 3.
Efficiency at its finest for sure.
The chicken tenders,
don't get us started. If you know, you know. But man, like I'm curious about this Houston. The Rockets are going to be involved at some point in the trade deadline the next week or so. So this is a fun exercise. I did see that Kenyon Martin Jr. is a guy that's probably need to be. He's on the fringe of needing to be rostered in 10 and 12 man leagues. You look at what he's been doing the last 5 games. The minutes, kind of peaked up into the upper 20s. They dipped back down into the high teens. But this is a guy who, I don't know if you remember at the end of last year, but Martin Jr. was a fantasy player that you probably needed on your roster towards the end of the season. He helped a lot. And I think just looking at this Rockets team, like even Garrison Matthews, there's going to be some movement on this team. Definitely keep an eye on some of these guys. Did you have anybody else that you want? You said you were talking about Sengun?
So I want to just say, I think the only player safe on this team, because I've read a lot that the Rockets are probably looking to move on from Christian Wood, and he could be an attractive piece. So I think you have Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., Martin Jr., and Sengun. Mm-hmm. And then I think the rest of these guys, they're going to be like free game. The Rockets are going to be fun at the deadline, because these guys are going to get moved. And they're actually pretty good. Like Daniel Tice probably is playing if he's not on the fucking Rockets.
So you talked about the Bucks being a trade. Like the Bucks don't have a center. Like they don't have anything to like. I watched first of all the Bucks Wizards the other night. What's his name? Thomas Bryant got hurt early in that game, and the entire second half it was Montrezl Harrell. The Bucks could not do it. They had no answer.
Harrell was a beast on them the other night.
He was a bull in a china shop, and I just think if the Bucks are serious, they need to fix their broke Lopez.
They don't like getting bullied.
They can get bullied. That's the problem.
Yeah, you need that. You need that PJ Tucker. You need that other guy that's going to step in and protect Giannis.
Or
they just don't like getting bullied. And
a white dude covered in tats.
I mean, Tice is like the most boring fucking NBA player in the world, but he probably fits in great on the Bucks.
He's known for his time with the Celtics and being a part of that really good Celtics team a few years ago. He just offers a veteran presence on, and his defensive hustle. I think that's what most people remember him for, is just whether it's a block or some kind of timely steal or something. He's
just smart, like an annoying foul.
Yeah, annoying slap. Yeah, and then he'll come and get you some points. He's actually a good shooter too. So I think Tice could be a fun trade candidate at some points. I think Jayshawn Tate's probably a part of their future too. He's a really good scorer when he wants to be, and he's been probably one of their more consistent players all season. Kind of fringe rosterable in 10 and 12 man leagues, but I do like what he offers. But yeah, it's a mess, but I get excited about these messy teams like the Kings and the Rockets and the Pistons, like, because just there's a lot of movement going on, and then you get to see new young talent. They're gonna say fuck it, like let's see what we can do and see who's ready to play next year. So I think
it's the wild west after the trade deadline for these teams. Like you can pick up players from the Thunder and the Rockets, and they're no-name guys, and they can put up 30+ points for you.
So you just kind of hit on one of the teams I wanted to talk about yet, and it is the Thunder, because there was some bad news on SGA.
Oh man,
he's got an ankle thing. He's not playing for. He's out through the All-Star break. Let me pull this up here. And it sucks. It's kind of the same situation as last year, where he got hurt around this time, and he suffered a right ankle sprain last Friday, and he'll be reevaluated after the All-Star break. So we might not see him until maybe March. Who really knows at this point? And he was playing very good fantasy ball But now you're looking at a team here that if you haven't added Lou Dort, he's only 28.5% rostered, but pretty much the offense now runs through Dort. You look at his last 3 games, 30, 18, and 27. Look at his fantasy numbers. This is, if no SGA, it's going to be Lou Dort getting a ton of points and a ton of opportunity. But this is a team here, and I don't know what. I'd be curious to see what your thoughts on these guys for trade deadline activity. But we're looking at a bunch of G League talent.
Yeah, they don't have a lot to move.
Yeah,
they're probably taking on like they did last year. You know, like they took on Al Horford and got a first round pick out of it. That's what they're gonna do. You know,
so they're gonna probably collect some.
Presley's gonna work that magic. That dude's playing 2K when it comes to the trade deadline, and he'll take on some stuff. You know, you could move Dort. Giddey, I think, also benefits from this.
Let's actually look.
Aaron Wiggins actually has had some kind of pop off games every once in a while, but this team is after Dort, Giddey, and SGA. They're all for sale like this, and please take them type thing.
This
is an amazing pick, and I loved Giddey. I told Kyle and John that I loved him coming out because he played professional basketball like Luka, and he did it really well, and he was the MVP of the league last year.
As far as from a rookie, like you're looking at a guy that could potentially be a triple-double threat for an John, and for some of his best seasons, and that's. If Mobley wasn't playing as good as he's playing, I think Giddey's my number 2 vote for rookie of the year at the moment right now. And he's been on a team that's so garbage. They hit one here. So if we're thinking about OKC guys sticking around for the future, you want to build around SGA and Giddey as your 1 and your 2 guards here. I don't know what Dort can do. Who would come and buy Lou Dort at this point? Someone that needs a scorer?
I mean, Dort's not just a scorer. Like, he's a great defender, and he's a big boy. Like he's a good player. Like he makes a team better being there.
So potentially you could have a lineup with SGA, Giddey, and Dort being at least the core of the future, and then they just need some bigs.
Dort doesn't fit in with SGA and Giddey because Giddey's gonna have to play the point, and Dort's a guard. He's small, like he's not tall.
He's more 2 than a 3.
Yeah, he's a big 2,
right?
Which is his advantage right now. But I think you move that dude to a contender. Someone's happy, and you get a first round pick and other stuff. Probably a buyout. You probably get Russell Westbrook and a first round pick.
Just while we're here real quick, though, this looks interesting because Darius Bazley is averaging 29.4 points per game over the last 7 days. He's only 8.8% rostered.
Yeah, but Bazley's part of that future, too. He's a long dude.
I like the high minutes is nice, but the double-double here last night, if he can kind of be more consistent and finish, if he could have 7-8 rebounds on a bad night, that's when you're going to start to see some really fun numbers. Because he's he's very good at the blocks. He can steal. He get an assist every now and then. So he's a player that can definitely.
Tiny though.
He's thin, very thin.
Yeah. He gets knocked around down there.
But he could definitely be on your radar in 10 and 12 man leagues. And then you mentioned Wiggins. Wiggins had been playing well. I think at some points in January here.
Pop-off game. Yeah,
decent pop-offs and being. I mean, we all looked at him in a 10-man league. You've looked at Aaron Wiggins before, and then I'm just trying to think of anybody like. Man, I'd like to see more Theo Maledon. He actually played well last year in spurts as a rookie. I'm not sure why he's not getting any run right now.
We got to move on. It's depressing.
This is the last player here, Jeremiah Robinson Earl. He was kind of playing as their small big. He had been really reliable. In a 10-man league, you're probably looking at this and thinking like that's almost worth a spot. So I don't know what's going on here. It looks like he's out for a long time though. So he's out with a 6-week injury for a foot injury. But otherwise, it is.
Gotta leave the Sixers, man. I'm sad now.
probably the least exciting team right now in the NBA. But do we want to dabble with some of the crappy East teams? Whether it's should we look at the Pistons?
No.
Pistons are at least exciting though, because we can see a path to a future where there's
Killian Hayes is terrible.
He has not been. I thought about adding him, and I saw you added him the other day, and that was maybe a one-night stand situation.
It was like a half an hour room rental.
And he had his moment. It looks like end of the month here. He had a nice little stretch where it made you think about it. 6 out of 7 games, you're feeling pretty good about these numbers, and then
he had 14 and 12 for me.
Mm-hmm. So that's all. Sometimes that's all it is. You get a 2-day rental and nothing.
Saddiq Bey is fun.
Saddiq Bey is the guy, and you've had him all season, I believe. Did you draft him?
I drafted him.
Yeah, and this is looking like a really good. This is a player that the Pistons want to build around. You put Saddiq Bey and Cade Cunningham, and maybe sprinkles of Isaiah Stewart. Like that's kind of the basis of this future offense. It covers pretty much. Well,
you'll probably
Cade at the one.
I think Killian fits in.
And he's kind of had a rough go of things. I think
he's learning.
He's getting more consistent. Like that's the thing is he's getting more consistent this year. It's still not at an elite level, but it's much better. It's night and day. But like last year, you weren't even looking at him in a 10 and 12 man league. At least this year, you can think about it.
Yeah, he's part of the. I mean, he's just a point guard.
Mm-hmm.
So let him do that. If he can get those assists going, you bring in a veteran to help him out.
Well, that's what Corey Joseph.
Because Cade is, a scoring guard. He's not a shooter, but he's a scoring guard. He also gets this insane amount of assists. So
I think this is probably the future for a Killian Hayes because Corey Joseph has been starting for them, getting in the upper 20s, 30 minutes. And he's not a really consistent scorer every night, but this is probably what you're looking at for a future of a Killian Hayes where he's kind of the primary assist man and just kind of scraping around on defense and doing some things and scoring when he needs to. So there is a future for a 2-guard system there with Cade and Killian.
It's pretty much the Sexton Garland situation.
Very similar. And I'm just looking around here for anybody else that we might be missing it. Are they missing anybody right now? Jeremy Grant returned. I think there's a lot of questions about him being traded. I think that's really
he's getting moved.
That's really the only piece I think the Pistons are willing to move at this point.
I mean, you have Josh Jackson who was performing at an elite level. What's his injury? How long is he on?
Back.
So I mean, that dude was killing it at the beginning of the season. I don't know if you can go back that far, but you probably move Olynyk, you probably move Josh Jackson, and you probably get a nice package for Jeremy Grant. I mean, that guy's. What if you sent him to the Sixers?
Well, I'm curious what Jeremy Grant is commanding for money.
He already signed his contract.
Right, but can it? So a team has to take that on, or the Pistons paying?
It's not that huge of a contract, though.
So about $20 million a year this year, and it's only a 2-year deal. So this actually is very, very movable.
It's pretty friendly.
Very friendly. So so this is exciting here. So say Jeremy Grant gets moved, that's going to open up some more minutes for a guy like potentially Josh Jackson to be back into the starting lineup. Yeah. I'm interested. Like Kelly Olynyk makes sense. He actually was on a lot of fantasy before he got hurt, he was averaging 25.5 points per game. So this is a guy that I'm super interested in. He flashed back in January before. So if he gets opportunity, definitely somebody you want to keep an eye on. So the Pistons, definitely a team that we expect to be making a move or two before the trade deadline. Let's give me a Magic minute here. I just want to take a peek at the Orlando Magic and maybe we get a laugh or two. What are we looking at here? And then can you tell me outside of Cole Anthony and Franz Wagner, maybe Chuma Okeke and Mo Bamba, who's getting moved? Like, I like Suggs. So those are 5 names that I just listed there that I like. What do you expect from? Is there anybody that you could expect to be moved here?
To get traded?
Sure.
Terrence Ross, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Ross needs to be moved. Wagner's not going anywhere because his brother's on the team. The fun part is that Jonathan Isaac will be coming back this year.
What's up with Fultz? Because those guys had similar timetable for returns.
Fultz should be moved.
And dang, look at this. Isaac, Fultz, and MCW.
Yeah, but Fultz should be moved because you have Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs just balling right now. And
wow,
man out. So
this is from last Friday. He's resumed practicing in the G League.
Yeah. He's on the trade block for sure.
So no time to return, but someone could give them a call and see what's up.
Because he doesn't fit anymore.
So you're gonna
keep Anthony's a baller.
You're gonna keep Anthony and Suggs is a really fun duo forward. Like they're always gonna find someone like Gary Harris or Terrence Ross to fill the 2-3 role here. But I'm super interested because they have a really fun rotation right now. It's a trio of big men: Wendell Carter, Okeke, and Mo Bamba. Like these all three of them average double digits for points. They're all, I think combined, they average about 20-25 rebounds per game, and they're all playing a lot of minutes. So they kind of have this weird 3-man rotation, and that leaves Moritz Wagner and Brook Lopez kind of useless on this team. So they're fine at the big. I think they probably need to just consolidate and move some of their veterans and try to get even if it's a late, take what you can get, right?
Gary Harris is getting moved.
Yeah.
Which is a good move for someone. But his 3-point percentage is shit. So, but
what do you think?
You would need a scoring shooting guard that plays good defense.
What do you think about moving Wendell Carter Jr., who's actually been our best fantasy player?
Move him.
Well, you have Okeke and Mo Bamba that can hold that spot down. And Wendell Carter, he's averaging last 7 days, he's averaging 16.5 points and 10.5 rebounds.
Yeah, I think maybe he's part of the future then because they moved Vucevic for him. Those other guys maybe are dispendable.
Yeah, maybe Okeke Bamba.
He's performing.
Yeah, he is. He's probably worth a contract negotiation at some point.
They actually have a fun four there. Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., Jalen Suggs, and Franz Wagner.
And Franz,
that's fun.
And then just look at what Wendell this is like third or fourth round material in a fantasy draft. Like you want to be drafting this in the third or fourth round next year. So this is very interesting to me. I think Carter maybe he finally settles in here with Magic.
He's a mainstay.
And the Magic, maybe they just need, a couple pieces. They're a draft pick away from bringing someone off the bench that could kind of destroy. Cash in Terrence Ross, see what happens.
But Jonathan Isaac comes back. This team that's a 5.
So no timeline yet. This is a report from January 11th, so maybe there's some more news out there. So maybe we'll get a report during All-Star break here coming up. So I'm excited about this. I like it. I want to see the Magic again. Like they have that kind of core. You can see it there. You can see something developing here. They just need a little bit more depth.
They're their Cavs 2 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Or maybe even just last year. Probably just last year. It's like okay. I see where this is going. It still sucks, but. There's shape. There's there's shadow at least of something taking place. So that's kind of fun. With Isaac being healthy next year, that team could make the playoffs. Another draft pick. They're going to pick up draft picks. They're going to move people. It's the Bucks' old GM. He's going to do some things.
So we've touched on the Magic, the Pistons. Did we want to look at is there any Pacer players that is Brogdon?
Pacers are just, I don't even want to talk about them because that organization has gone downhill so quick.
It's so flat there right now. And I know Sabonis and Turner are both in and out of the lineup right now.
That's insane. So, Sabonis is they're not even making Sabonis. Rick Carlisle's come in there and he's anti-Sabonis. Makes no sense.
He's been in the COVID protocols the last few games here, but otherwise, no Malcolm Brogdon either at the moment. What's up with this? And Achilles, he has no timetable yet, so it just seems like
this team's cashed up.
it's always something with
Yeah.
Brogdon. So like, look at this, like literally T.J. Warren, McConnell, Turner, Brogdon, Goga, and Sabonis. Like literally, their top 5-6 players are not playing right now. They do have Levert, who's looked really nice this year, and I'm glad to see him playing back after his injury
Duarte.
not too long ago. Duarte's got some promise.
But,
I did like this Isaiah Jackson. This is the guy that's been getting minutes when Sabonis and Gogo and Turner haven't been playing. And this guy, he's working on something here. He's a really good scorer inside. He's got a good body presence on the inside. He just put up a nice double-double the other night, and then he gets hurt literally the first minute of last night's game against the Magic. Ankle injury. I get a big fat 0 on my score. But some pieces
what's
there.
funny? With it, sorry to interrupt you, but like we're talking about the zeros. I've had 2 players last week that got ejected from games.
Which ones?
Ingram got ejected from a game for apparently taunting, and then I can't remember the other guy, but I looked at his points. Oh, it's PJ Washington. PJ Washington got ejected for basically nothing, but it's been happening a lot around, and it's kind of a fantasy like kicking the balls.
I don't think we reward those ejections anymore in our league, do we? Where we did like +1 or 2. Maybe we should. If you get ejected, you're getting 3 points. That's as good as hitting.
I should get 3 points. Levert is probably the trade candidate on this team. But also Miles Turner is the biggest trade candidate. Everyone's been trying to trade for this guy
for years. It seems
years, and it's doesn't happen. He's basically sitting out because doesn't want to play, and they're being assholes to him, which is crazy because Miles Turner is Miles Turner is a shorter Jared Allen.
I think with his peak, he's a defensive player of the year candidate.
Yeah.
And
you're gonna get the rebounds, and he's gonna put back the points. But
oh my God, I'm drooling thinking that the Bucks somehow finding enough.
That would be amazing.
To stop the cupboard with him.
But Sabonis has also kind of been on that list, and they almost want to move him too now, which is insane. So
yeah, I don't
get it. This team is weird. It's all getting broke up.
Know how to fix it, and I don't know if I want to fix it. Like I just
no.
It's in for now. And then I don't know. We kind of touched on like the bottom 3 teams in each conference. We've talked about the Spurs and the Pelicans enough this year, I think. But the team that I did you watch the Wizards and the Bucks the other night?
I just cut the highlights. I watched a little of it actually because it was on. But
I'm very intrigued with the Wizards because they looked very competent against the Bucks without Bradley Beal, and if they're going to be competent without Bradley Beal most nights, I think that there's a lot to like on this team, and I guess if we were to fix this team and make it better, I don't know. I guess I'm curious your thoughts, but I wanted to shout out Kyle Kuzma because these numbers have been. He's on a 5-game bender right now. Literally, it goes back even further. Yeah, it goes back even further. Like literally, his month of January, career month of basketball for Kuzma. We're talking almost a walking double-double. He flirted with a triple-double here against Orlando one night. I like that pretty much every night he's getting a block. You can bank on a block or 2, sometimes multiple, and then the steals here. So you're seeing maximum effort. The minutes are through the roof. The scoring the last 3 games, 24, 25, and 30. You're looking at a player here who he's number 6 ranked power forward right now. So I don't think he's getting enough attention right now. And you talk about look at this. Philly, Milwaukee, Memphis, the last 3 nights, and the dude's averaging 50 fantasy points against these awesome teams. Yes, this is, to me, he was the first half. The Wizards didn't have much against the Bucks, but Kuzma kept with it. He kept hitting his shot, and then I got into looking at his numbers, and I was like, holy crap! Like he's keeping the Wizards interesting right now here. And if Bradley Beal can get back, you're looking at a fun 2-man little pow of scoring here. As Beal, everyone knows he can score, but if you get some help from some friends, you're looking at something kind of fun. And then Avija, he actually looked decent against. Like he's starting to become fringe rosterable in some
Yep.
leagues. You look at the points there. He popped up on some of my radars,
He's
and
on the Killian Hayes.
yeah. And
Path. You know?
if there's an injury or something that opens up more playing time for him, that's pretty much all he needs at this moment. But if he can settle into here, about 13 points, 5-7 rebounds per game, like that's where it's going to start getting fun. But he looks smooth against the Bucks. And I mean, Achimura is still there. Thomas Bryant got hurt in that game, but there's a lot of names on
Hachirama,
the.
yeah, Rui is interesting because he did come back, but he's come back super soft.
Well, they haven't just been given. They just haven't. He's been running with the twos.
Yeah.
So the minute basically Kyle Kuzma took his position, and that's kind of where things are right now. But he's on the fringe of being rosterable in a 10 or 12 man league here. He's had some nice 20-point games here for fantasy, but it's just kind of not been consistent. The Gonzaga Kispert guy here has actually been better than Rui Hachimura in terms of just hitting more stuff and more minutes. So these numbers actually look really close to being.
Rui's more of a power forward though.
Yes.
So I think Harrell is maybe and Harrell and Kuzma are clogging that up right now because
and
Harrell's playing great.
Harrell's been fantastic. I actually think that he needs. I know they tend to take it easy with him, but if they can find ways to get him on the floor a little bit more, but I don't know. I'm interested in the Wizards. I like to see them get it together and make the play-in tournament. But it looks like they're going to probably be one of the first teams out. But I don't know, man. I guess we're going on about 46 minutes. Was there anything that you wanted to talk about specifically? Western, Eastern, anything on your mind in basketball land?
No, I think we covered it. I really wanted to hit on the rookies, and I mean, most of us know what's going on at the top, so it's fun to just kind of hit the bottom and look at these guys. And from a standings standpoint, Kyle, let's end on this.
Mm-hmm.
How do we think? Let's give a prediction. How does the West and the East pan out?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty much counting everybody from Portland on down out. I think we're probably not going to see Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers this year. Is that true? But
and George is also out.
George, so Clippers, we'll call them out. I do think the Lakers, again, they just need everyone to stay healthy. That they're probably a team here that could be hot and make a run at things. I just want to shout out the Timberwolves. I've been very impressed with them. I just think they're too hot and cold right now. They look great against a team one night like the Grizzlies, and then they're going to lose to the Kings the next night. Like, you can't do that still. So I like what the Wolves are doing, but I don't see it yet. It's basically this top six. From the Suns to the Nuggets, it depends on for the Nuggets. It really depends if they can get those guys healthy back with enough time to just get some kind of chemistry rolling with that team. So for me, they're still kind of the odd man out. I really like the Grizzlies right now, the way that they're playing. I think they're going to get stronger. Dallas is a weird team. It feels like they don't have enough to make a run. So it's still, to me, kind of in between these top four teams here. But I really feel like Grizzlies, Warriors, Suns, that's probably going to remain the cream of the crop here. But I could see, again, if the Nuggets get everybody healthy and with enough time to make a run, I think that could be special. What were you thinking?
I'll just touch on the East.
Okay.
So you did the West, I'll do the East.
Yep.
I think that top four probably kind of swaps around and changes. Nets probably sneaking in there with KD coming back if he comes back. I like the Hornets. I think the Cavs, like my main hope for the Cavs is that they stay in the top four.
Mm-hmm.
Or, get that, 5, 4, 5. That's fine. Play one of those two teams. You kind of swap them. But I would assume the Bucks go up. It's so weird. It's so close.
The top six are interchangeable for me at this point.
They really are. And if you look at the future, viewpoint, it doesn't change much. I can't see one of these teams really pulling away. just with injuries and situations like the Sixers, I could see them just falling off.
Well,
the Heat get Kyle Lowry back at some point. The Heat have not been healthy once this year. If they get all healthy, they're the clear number one. But if the Bucks start playing like the Bucks should be playing, they're the number one. And the Bulls, I think, probably fall in that 2 to 3 range. But
I'm looking at the Nets. The Nets are only 3.5 games out. Durant's coming back sometime in the next couple weeks, I think. They're only 3.5 games out. So like this literally could be flipped, and you can see Brooklyn still finish as the number one.
And what happens if Kyrie gets a shot?
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. The Hornets have been fun highlight ball.
They're literally an insect. Like they are pests for teams. They score a lot of points. They actually score the most points per game in the East, which I think is a cool stat. And after like Raptors, Celtics, Hawks, like do we care?
No.
I want the Wizards. I want to see the Wizards play better.
The fact that the Cavs are 31-21 just like blows my mind.
Are you at all concerned about like a second half? Like again, they have Kevin Love for some veteran leadership.
Now this is a team that's just, I mean, and I follow them maybe a little too closely, but they're hungry. Well, they want to win every single game, and every single game they don't win, it's let's fix this. So
what I keep coming back to is they've been through a lot of shit this year. They have not had a consistent, healthy, like this is our starting lineup. Like they've been through so much, and they just keep finding a way to win. So I don't see them slipping. Like they're a top 6 team this year in the East.
Yeah.
I see them playing in the play-in tournament. I think they've clearly established themselves as, hey, like we are sometimes like again, like right now they're on a 7-3 streak over the last 10 games. Like they have been playing some of the best ball in the Eastern Conference. So I think you have definitely something to be excited about. And again, I don't know for schedule wise what their back half of their schedule looks like, but I think as teams like Cavaliers are one of those teams that can get healthier, right? You're expecting some Markkanen, you're expecting some of these other guys. Markkanen's out for how long?
There's no timetable. We just kind of assumed All-Star break. Like,
so it seems like every team's got like one of those.
And they don't have Garland right now. That's why they lost.
Right. So
Garland's a huge difference.
And I'm excited. I think the top 6 in the East is just going to be this weird pinball machine.
We're gonna have a fun playoffs, I think.
Oh, yeah.
There's not like one team the only team that has an amazing superstar that's going to change a game is the Bucks.
And the Bucks are just not this like without
Brooke, the Bucks of old.
They need their big. I always would call Brook Lopez like the Ent. He was like the king. He was like the king of the trees for them. Like they need their big man in the middle, so they're just not playing the same. But it's going to be a lot of fun. At the moment, right now, I think there is a game that I'm going to get to the Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks. So I'm going to get out of here for tonight. Thank you for hanging out with us. Drake will be back next Tuesday or Thursday. We'll figure it out next week, but come hang out with us next week, and we'll try and get John. We'll get little John in the mix with us. But that's going to do it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.